How's it going? I'm Brock, bringing you episode 3 of This is the Headbangers from Bootheel Radio podcast, only on YouTube Music. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to my channel. And up first, I have Emotionless by Red Sun Rising, and it's coming up next, only on YouTube. And here it is.
Lips closed and I seal your sculpture with a pulse. I wanna capture your essence and keep it here forever, little one. And I feel good about you not telling anyone. You're just like motionless, emotionless. You're beautiful asleep. Motionless, emotionless. You're beautiful asleep. You feel nothing as I send your soul away. How long will you last? And how long will you stay? As guilty as I feel, I'm making you beautiful forever. It didn't run away with nothing. We'll be perfect here together. I feel good about you not telling. I feel good about you. You're just emotionless, emotionless. You're beautiful asleep. You're just emotionless, emotionless. You're beautiful asleep. You're just emotionless, emotionless. You're beautiful asleep. You're just emotionless. clean cut and clean shaved. I got the cover off the 68. I fired it up and let them horses sing. A little pretty thing, a little tan leg Georgia dream. She's rocking them holy jeans. Baby, what you got going on Saturday? You know, word's got it, it's gonna be a party. Out of town about half a mile. Four-wheel drive and big mud tires. Musky down and wide. Oh, baby, you can find me in the back of a jacked up tailgate, sitting around watching all these pretty things. Get down in that Georgia clay and I'll buy a piece at the bottom of a real tall cold drink. Chillin' with some Skinner and some old hay. Let's get this thing started. It's my kind of party. If you wanna drink, go baby, just do your thing. Give up your keys. Hell, I'm driving, you can stay with me. And after a while, slip away from the phone pie. Walk by the moonlight and down to the riverside. Got you sipping on some moonshine. Baby, if you're in the mood, you can settle for one night of rodeo. You can be my Montana and Juliet. I'll be your redneck Romeo. Oh, baby, you can find me in the back of a jacked up tailgate, sitting around watching all these pretty things. Get down in that Georgia clay and I'll buy a piece at the bottom of a real tall cold drink. Chillin' with some Skinner and some old hay. Let's get this thing started. It's my kind of party. Come on, baby, you can find me in the back of a jacked up
that was Everywhere I Go by OnLap off the album Running. This is the Headbangers from the Bootheel Heavy Metal Station, only on YouTube Music. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe to my channel. And bands that I have coming up next are Elijah, Dirt, and Kanye West. OnLap is an independent group. Don't recall where they're from, but I consider them my favorite independent group. I don't know every single song by them, but I've listened to the majority of their stuff. And they are a pretty underrated group in my honest opinion. And the next group coming up is called Elijah, and it's a song called Virus, and he's another underrated group that's pretty good. I don't know if they're independent or not, but I assume they're signed to a record label. Here is Virus by Elijah coming up next.
Can't heal, it's too late. You're already in my veins. No pills left to take, so get on to my grave. I can't heal, it's too late. You're already in my veins. No pills left to take, so get on to my grave. Baby, you're virus. You don't leave me here so sick. Thinking like darkness. You just forget about me so quick. You're talking now, I can barely breathe. No, nothing's gonna save me. so heartless? How could you be so heartless? Oh, how could you be so heartless? How could you be so cold as the winter wind when it breeze, yo? Just remember that you talking to me, though. You need to watch the way you talking to me, yo. I mean, after all the things that we've been through. I mean, after all the things we got into. Hey, yo, I know some things that you ain't told me. Hey, yo, I did some things, but that's the old me. And now you wanna give me back and you gon' show me. So you walk around like you don't know me. You got a new friend, well, I got homies. But in the end, it's still so lonely. In the night, I hear him talk, the cold story ever told. So I far along this road, he lost his soul to a woman so honest. How could you be so honest? Oh, how could you be so honest? How could you be so Dr. Evil? You bring it out inside of me that I don't know. I decided we won't speak, so why we up 3 a.m. on the phone? Why do she be so mad at me for? Homie, I don't know, she's hot and cold. I won't stop, won't mess my groove up, cause I already know how it's still go. You run and tell your friends that you're leaving me. They say that they don't see what you see in me. You wait a couple months, then you gon' see. You'll never find nobody better than me. In the night, I hear you talk, the coldest story ever told. So when far along this road, he lost his soul to a woman so honest. How could you be so honest? Oh, how could you be so honest? Talk. Baby, let's just knock it off. They don't know what we've been through. They don't know about me and you. So I got something new to see. And you just gon' keep hating me. And we just gon' be enemies. I know you can't believe I could just leave it wrong. And you can't make it right. I'm gon' take off tonight into the night. I hear him talk, the coldest story ever told. So when far along this road, he lost his soul to a woman so honest. How could you be so honest? Oh, how could you be so honest?
This is the Headbangers from the Bootheel Heavy Metal Station, only on YouTube Music. And that was Heartless by Kanye West off the album 808s and Heartbreak. It's a pretty popular song by them. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to my channel. Bands that I have coming up next are Papa Roach, Royal Lynn, and Hailstorm. Here is No Matter What by Papa Roach coming up next.
I need you right here by my side. You're everything I'm not in my life. We're indestructible, we are untouchable. Nothing can take us down tonight. You are so beautiful, it should be criminal. You could be mine, and we will make it out alive. I promise you this love will never die. No matter what, I got your back. I'll take a bullet for you if it comes to that. I swear to God that it will be right. just for the things we've done. We will make it out alive. I promise you this love will never die. No matter what, I've got your back. I'll take a bullet for you if it comes to that. I swear to God, we're gonna
That was Still Breathing by Hailstorm off the album Hailstorm the 10th Anniversary Edition. This is the Headbangers from the Bootheel Heavy Metal Station, only on YouTube Music. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe to my channel. And bands that I have coming up next are Avril Lavigne, A Day to Remember, and Breaking Benjamin. Here is My Happy Ending by Avril Lavigne. But first, Hailstorm I've seen twice in concert. I've seen her once in Poplar Bluff, I believe. And I've seen her the second time at Point Fest, and she rocked both times. One of the best artists I've ever seen live. And definitely one of my favorite artists that has the most powerful and strong and energetic voice as far as rock artists. She is awesome live. It's actually how I never heard of her the first time I had seen her in concert, which was, like I said, in Poplar Bluff. And when I heard her, I thought she was better. She was the first artist that I seen. I think she was the first concert I went to, or I had ever been to. And she was the first artist that kind of tore the house down. I mean, she makes awesome music, and she will, if she keeps writing what she's doing and doing stuff similar to that song and other songs she's done, she'll be fine. I do not, however, care for her latest album. It was something really different, and I don't really know what it was. But I didn't care for it. I would go see her again in a heartbeat, though. Anyway, up next is My Happy Ending by Avril Lavigne, coming up next.
Let's talk this over. It's not like we're dead. Was it something I did? Was it something you said? Don't leave me hanging in a city so dead. Held up so high on such a breakable thread. You were all the things I thought I knew, and I thought we could be. You were everything that I wanted. We were meant to be, supposed to be, but we lost it. Out of a memory so close to me, just this.
page with all my ways that I try to understand. Things could be different, alright. Wait for the lack of how I tried. So let's go our separate ways and count the days as we get by. Let's walk it by. So much better. I never care. Will you remember the truth? 'Cause they want me to. So much better. I never care. Will you remember the truth? 'Cause we spend on it, where I'm the only one who's wrong. It's always something, it's always something left me and you. 'Cause we spend on it, where I'm the only one who's wrong. It's always something, it's always something left me and you. So I surrender. So I surrender. So I surrender. I never care. Will you remember the truth? 'Cause they want me to. So they want me to. So they want me to. So I surrender.
That was I Surrender by A Day to Remember off the album Common Courtesy. Another one of my favorite albums by A Day to Remember. Some good songs off that album are Right Back at It Again, Dead and Buried, probably my two favorites other than this one. This is the Headbangers from the Bootheel Heavy Metal Station, only on YouTube Music. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to my channel. And bands that I have coming up next are Breaking Benjamin, Cody Parks, and Eminem. Here is Give Me a Sign by Breaking Benjamin. And here it is. I'm almost messed up.
Sunshine, light up the sky. I'm more out of breath. My walls are closing in. Days gone by, kills me. seen the sunshine says I don't know when I'm looking for some prison. It's how you drag it on. The big train keeps a rolling. Only the same asshole. When I was just a baby, my mama told me so. He always be the boy, don't she will fuck with guns. But I shot a man in Monroe just to watch him die. When I hear that whistle blowing, riding my head and right. Closely, and bands that die hard. They're probably smoking reefer and praying really hard. But I know I had it coming. I know I can't be free. Those people keep moving, and that's what's yours to me. Salvation, liberation on the drive. The power of the blaster. Move me faster. 1969.
Just gonna stand there and watch me burn. That's alright because I like the way it hurts. Just gonna stand there and hear me cry. That's alright because I love the way you lie. I love the way you lie.
I can't tell you what it really is. I can only tell you what it feels like. And right now it's a steel knife in my windpipe. I can't breathe, but I still fight while I can fight. As long as the road feels right, it's like I'm in flight. High up on all drunk on my head. It's like I'm huffing pain. I love her, the more I suffer. I suffocate right before I'm about to drown. She resuscitates me. She fucking hates me, and I love it. Wait, where you going? I'm leaving you. No, you ain't come back. We're running right back. Here we go again. It's so insane, 'cause when it's going good, it's going things, hit things that we didn't mean. Then we fall back into the same patterns, same routine. Bunch of tippers just as bad as mine. You're the same as me when it comes to love, you just as blinded. Baby, please come back. It wasn't you, baby, it was me. Maybe our relationship isn't as crazy as it seems. Maybe that's what happens when a tornado meets a volcano. All I know is I love you too much to walk away. Now come inside, pick up your bags off the sidewalk. Don't you hear sincerity in my voice when I talk? Told you this is my fault. Look me in the eyeball. Next time I'll pistol aim my fist at the drywall. Next time there will be no next time. I apologize even though I know it's lies. I'm tired of the games, I just wanna back. I know I'm a liar. If she ever tries to fucking leave again, I'ma tie her to the bed and set this house on fire. Just gonna
stand there and watch me burn. That's alright because I like the way it hurts. Just gonna stand there and hear me cry. That's alright because I like the way you lie. I love the way you lie. I love the way you lie.
That was Love the Way You Lie by Eminem off the album Recovery. This is the Headbangers from the Bootheel Heavy Metal Station, only on YouTube Music. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to my channel. Bands that I have coming up next are Def Leppard, Amaranthe, and Kelly Clarkson. Eminem's been a favorite artist of mine since another one that's been a favorite since I was a little kid. Probably since I was 8 or 9 or 10 or somewhere around in there. The Eminem Show is my favorite album by Eminem. But Love the Way You Lie is a good song. And Recovery is probably my second or third favorite. I don't really know what my second favorite is. But there's a lot of good songs off this album. It's not even his best album. His best album is the Marshall Mathers LP2, I think. And it's okay, but I mean, there's a lot of bands out there that their greatest albums I like, but I don't think it's their best. Anyway, up next I have Promises by Def Leppard, and bands that are to follow are Amaranthe, Kelly Clarkson, and Spirit Box. Here is Promises by Def Leppard coming up next.
Gotta get
Here's the thing, we started out friends. It was cool when we saw pretend. Yeah, yeah. Since you've been gone, you dedicated, you took the time. Wasn't long till I called you mine. Yeah, yeah. Since you've been gone, and all you ever hear me say is how I picture me with you. That's all you ever hear me say. But since you've been gone, I can't breathe for the first time. I'm so alone, yeah, yeah. Thanks to you, now I get what I want. Since you've been gone, how can I put it? You put me on. I even fell for this stupid love song. Yeah, yeah. Since you've been gone, how come I never hear you say, I just wanna be with you? Guess you never felt that way. But since you've been gone, I can't breathe for the first time. I'm so alone, yeah, yeah. Thanks to you, now I get what I want. Since you've been Since you've been gone, since you've been gone, since you've been gone.
That was Since You've Been Gone by Kelly Clarkson off the album Breakaway. This is the Headbangers from the Bootheel Heavy Metal Station, only on YouTube Music. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to my channel. And bands that I have coming up next are Spirit Box, Zero Theorem, and Styles of Beyond. Kelly Clarkson was a group I think my mom had introduced me to, and if you've ever seen her show on TV, it's kind of how I come across her. I don't know how long that show's been around, but she's really, for me, only got a couple really good albums. And it's her 2 rock-related albums, and this is probably one of them. Or it is one of them. Never seen her live, and I imagine she's awesome live. I've heard her live on television a time or two, and she sounded pretty damn good. So a lot of the artists I listen to tend to be decent live, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, up next I have Hurt You by Spirit Box, and it's coming up next.
That's
Nine Thou by Styles of Beyond off the album Grant Mormon Remixes. This is the Headbangers from the Bootheel Heavy Metal Station, only on YouTube Music. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to my channel. Bands that I have coming up next are Any Given Sin, Nita Strauss, and Luke Combs. Styles of Beyond isn't a band that I knew about until actually a few weeks ago, maybe a little more than that. The reason I consider them a favorite is because of Linkin Park and Mike Shinoda and all them. Because these Fort Minor and Styles of Beyond were bands that Mike Shinoda was in before he was in Linkin Park. So, anyway, up next I have Dynamite by Any Given Sin, then Victorious by Nita Strauss, and Beer Never Broke My Heart by Luke Combs. Here is Dynamite by Any Given Sin coming up next.
Everything going wrong now. Nothing as it seemed was ever meant to be. And I had the world, I held it in my hand, turned it to the ground just to watch it land. Failure is an open book, and I'm the one that took a second look. I got the motivation, like on the situation. I'm like a rocket on the ground. Why don't you blow me up like dynamite? Hold me up to see the light. 'Cause I'm in a second chance. Now I'm not circumstance.
That was Victorious by Nita Strauss and Dorothy. This is the Headbangers from the Bootheel Heavy Metal Station, only on YouTube Music. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to my channel. Bands I have coming up next are Luke Combs, Any Given Day, and Tetrack. Here is Beer Never Broke My Heart by Luke Combs coming up next.
A couple beautiful girls tell me goodbye. Trucks break down, dogs run off, politicians lie being lied by the cause it takes one hand. Count the things I can count on. No, there ain't much around that ain't ever letting me down. Long neck, high stuff, and never broke my heart. Like football teams are torn this boy apart. Like a neon dream that just don't know me. The bars and his guitar. And long neck, high stuff, and never broke my heart. Cause lonely guys don't from my heart. Lying down the racing football teams and torn this boy apart. Like a neon dream, just don't know me and Mars and his guitar. Lonely guys don't from my heart. No, it never broke my heart. Forever and
This is the Headbangers from the Bootheel Heavy Metal Station, only on YouTube Music. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe to my channel. Bands that are going to finish up the playlist have already played. That's going to wrap up the 2-hour video, or approximately 2 hours. It's actually about 1 hour and 50 minutes. And I'm just about at the 50th minute. It's going to wrap up the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. Bye.